Okay, so let's get into it. We're going to dive into a subject today that I think everyone, feels like they understand. Discipline.
Right. But not the way we usually talk about it, not the bullet journals or the 5 a.m. clubs.
No, we're talking about a level of discipline that, honestly, most people never even get close to.
That's right. We looked at a ton of sources for you on this, and what's so interesting is that the theme is always the same. It doesn't matter if it's philosophy or high-performance psychology.
And what's the theme?
The barrier to this kind of deep discipline isn't complicated. It's not about some superhuman ability. The barrier is just, it's emotional. It is deeply, deeply uncomfortable.
And that's the whole mission right there, isn't it? Uncomfortable versus complicated.
Yeah.
If something's complicated, you can read a book, hire someone. But if it's uncomfortable, we just run from it.
Our mission today is to really define that discomfort. This deep discipline, it's ruthless. It removes your comforts. It removes your excuses.
Even the socially acceptable ones.
Yeah, especially those. And crucially, it removes what a lot of our sources call the illusion of control. That thing you use to protect your ego.
So if you strip all that away, where does that leave you?
When you really commit, the sources are crystal clear on this. There's no one else to blame.
No external fill-in.
None. No bad boss, no unfair circumstances. It's just you, your choices, and the cold, hard truth of your situation. That radical self-accountability, that's the terror.
And that, strangely enough, is where real achievement is made. So we promise to unpack that huge gap between just trying hard and true transformative discipline. We'll get into why facing yourself is so hard and how this quiet path is built where discipline just completely replaces motivation.
Yeah, let's start with the lie. The lie we're all told about what discipline even is.
Right. Surface discipline, this is what most of us know. It's the constant grind, right? Waking up earlier, cramming more tasks into the day, reading a book a week, tracking every single output.
And look, that stuff matters. That focus on willpower and habits, it's absolutely the entry gate. You have to start there.
But it's not the main engine.
It's not the engine for real transformation. It's too dependent on outside metrics, on what you can measure and show off.
Which brings us to the deeper form. We usually link discipline to getting a reward, don't we?
Of course.
I go to the gym, I see results, I work late, I get praised. But what happens when that validation just disappears? Or worse, when you're working harder and the results actually go backwards for a while.
That's the test. The true discipline, the kind that changes who you are, is so much deeper.
Our research defines it as doing what's right, even when you're no longer being rewarded for it.
Or even when people are actively discouraging you. That's a total redefinition.
It is.
It means the work doesn't stop just because the good feelings stop.
Yeah.
It means you stick to your principles even when nobody is clapping for you anymore.
It's quiet, it's subtle, and it is absolutely ruthless in its honesty.
Yeah.
You have to think about the moments it's really tested.
It's the marathon runner, training alone on some cold, rainy Sunday morning, asking themselves why they're even bothering when the race is 6 months away.
Or the startup founder who keeps looking at the really boring, granular data, not because an investor is watching, but just because the system demands it.
Yeah, or the writer who just shows up at the keyboard when inspiration is completely gone, when they feel like everything they're writing is just terrible.
That choice is, it's integrity over attention.
Exactly. Integrity says, I'm doing this because it aligns with my highest values. Attention says, I'm doing this so someone will see me so I can post the result.
So deep discipline is doing the thing that matches your identity, even if your feelings are screaming at you to do the opposite.
And that's the ultimate shift. It stops being about proving something to the world. It's purely about becoming something, transforming yourself from the inside out.
And that internal work, that's what leads us right into why this is all so scary. Let's talk about the terror of accountability.
Yeah, this is the core of it.
Because I think a lot of people hearing this, they're going to resist that idea. Consistency isn't scary. It's supposed to be peaceful. Why do the sources say it brings terror?
Because it's not the work that's scary, it's what the discipline takes away from you.
Okay.
It starts by stripping away your comfort. When you truly commit, you get rid of mood-based decisions. There's no more, I'll do it tomorrow because I feel tired today.
Ah, the emotional bargaining. We are all masters of that, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely.
Start that big project on the first of the month. Or I need to wait until I'm really inspired, otherwise the work won't be authentic.
Deep discipline kills that bargaining. Instantly. You just show up, tired, uninspired, doesn't matter. You show up when you know nobody will notice and you know you're not going to get that little dopamine hit for doing it.
You're there because you said you would be there.
That's it.
And this is where it gets really interesting for me. because it connects to this core psychological safety net that so many people use.
Yeah.
Hiding behind the illusion of potential.
This is such a profound concept we found. Most of us, we survive on the comforting story that we could be great if we just really tried.
Right. The person who never starts the business is potentially the next Steve Jobs. The person who never writes the book is potentially the next great novelist.
That potential is a fortress. It's safe. It's untouchable. As long as you don't fully commit and risk failure, you can stay theoretically perfect in your own mind.
You protect the ego.
Precisely.
Yeah.
But when discipline takes away the excuses, when you show up day after day, month after month, it forces this radical accountability. The illusion just evaporates.
And you have to face the truth.
The truth. You're no longer potentially great. You either are or you're not based on your actions.
And that has to be terrifying. Because it means if you fail now, you can't blame your schedule or your job or anything else. You dedicated the time. You showed up. You own the result.
And when failure feels that personal, that's when you stop running from it. Our default is to run because it threatens our identity. But with radical accountability, failure just becomes feedback. It's immediate, actionable data.
You can only learn from the truth.
Only.
So really, most of us spend our lives trying to avoid discomfort because we think discomfort is the same as danger.
It's the critical mistake of our time. Discomfort is not danger. Discomfort is a signal. It's information. It's where all the growth is hiding.
So that feeling of friction, of resistance.
That's the sign you're at the very edge of your potential, and that is exactly where you need to stay.
Which brings us right to the psychological resistance.
Yeah.
Why we self-sabotage right when we start to make progress. Even if we logically get it, our brain is fighting us. What's the mechanism there?
It's pure evolutionary survival. Your brain loves patterns. It loves predictability.
Even bad ones.
Even toxic ones. Chronic procrastination, self-doubt. Those are familiar routines. They're known, and to your subconscious mind, known equals safe.
So even a bad habit, like checking my phone 100 times a day, feels safe to my brain because it's a dependable pattern.
Exactly. So when you commit to real discipline, you are breaking that contract. You're turning off the autopilot. And your mind reads that as a threat to its safety. That's when the internal sabotage starts.
The whisper.
The whisper. That little voice that says, let's slow down. You've worked so hard, you deserve a break. One day off won't kill you.
That one day isn't about rest.
No, it's about the brain trying to pull you back into the old, comfortable, predictable pattern of avoidance.
This is that moment of exchange then. We think discipline limits our freedom, like it's a punishment. But the sources all argue the exact opposite. It creates real freedom.
Comfort gives you temporary relief, but discipline gives you clarity.
That's a great way to put it.
Comfort lets you hide your weaknesses in the dark where they can control you. Discipline shines a bright light on them so you can see them and then rebuild them stronger, in line with your values.
And when consistency replaces that need for comfort, that's when you finally see who you actually are.
Yes. Not the person you want to be, not the person you post about online. Who you are when no one is watching.
No filters, no hype.
Just behavior. You see the gap between what you say you value and what you actually do. And transformation starts right there, in that moment of painful, honest self-awareness.
But according to the research, that exact moment, that behavioral honesty, is when most people quit. If they're just starting to see the truth, why walk away?
It's not because the work got too hard, it's because it got too honest. The initial excitement is gone. You can post about your grind for the first few weeks, but 6 months in, when you're doing the same boring, unglamorous work, there's nothing left to post. No applause, no instant transformation.
You're just left with these quiet, consistent days, and you start to wonder if all this invisible work is actually adding up to anything.
And if you rely on that external validation, that's the quitting point. You will always quit when the applause stops. Because to the ego, the work feels meaningless without it. But the real work is always invisible. It's building the internal structures that eventually people will only see the results of.
Which brings us perfectly to our last section. Discipline as identity. When all those quiet, invisible days finally stack up, what do they build?
They build you. They build your identity. The insight here is so profound. Discipline stops being about what you can achieve externally and starts being about who you are becoming internally.
You are what you consistently do.
It's that simple. Those habits you built in silence have literally built you back into a person who trusts themselves.
And that self-trust, that's what the source material calls the mark of legends. They aren't always louder or faster. In fact, they're often calmer.
Much calmer, because they trust their systems more than they trust their emotions. While everyone else is waiting to feel ready or feel motivated, these people just act.
They know that chaos lives in emotion, but peace lives in structure.
They choose consistency over mood and process over pride. And that completely reframes control. We think control is managing what happens outside of us, but true control is just managing your own response.
And that's why discipline isn't a punishment. It's liberation.
Every single time you follow through on a promise to yourself, you build a little more self-respect.
And self-respect is the foundation of inner peace. Once you get a taste of that quiet confidence, that knowledge that you will follow through, it becomes addictive.
You stop chasing motivation because you don't need it anymore. Instead, you start fiercely protecting your standards. You move from searching for this wobbly balance in life to just living in alignment. And that alignment is freedom.
So to summarize our deep dive for you, true discipline demands that radical accountability. It will strip away every comfortable excuse, every illusion you have about your potential, and every place you might try to hide from your own behavior.
And that's where greatness is hiding. The goal is not to be perfect. That's a fantasy. The goal is just presence, showing up, especially when no one else does, doing the quiet, unglamorous work over and over again.
So here's the provocative thought we want to leave you with today. Discipline feels scary, but it's not because the work is too hard. It's scary because it works.
That discomfort, that friction you feel, that is the sensation of evolution happening in real time. It's your old, comfortable self fighting your new, accountable self into existence.
And once you embrace that feeling, once you stop thinking discomfort is danger, you realize it's not fear at all.
It's the raw sensation of transformation. Quiet, consistent, and relentlessly effective.